my name is Spielbeck, and the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I have been reading Doctor Who magazine. New Doctor Who magazine came out today with a in-depth interview with Chris Chibnall. In depth for him. It used to be Russell T Davies or Stephen Moffat. Well, you would get like a 12-page interview, like a really meaty interview. Even Jonathan Turner had like really good meaty interviews. You don't get so much like that from Chris Chibnall, and I can see why. They gave him they got a 4-page interview. He gave him like an hour and a half. So yeah, and I can see why, because the cat's out the bag. Again, if you are new to my channel, you do not know, or you might be able to guess, that I did not like season 11. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it for many reasons. There was, the bad writing, the weak villains, but primarily the deeply unsubtle political ideological agenda streaming through every pore of every episode, screaming out to the viewer their outlook. So the people who like season 11, who like Jodie Whittaker, they will say there's no agenda. There's no politically correct agenda in season 11. It didn't exist. That's just people being normal. No. So let's look at this interview. I want to highlight the thing that I'm talking about. So I've been playing around with OBS. I've actually worked out how to do that. So let's share a window. There we go. That's Doctor Who magazine. Zoom in. How do I do that? I go zoom. Yeah, zoom. Here we are. Yeah, okay, so talking about having a writer's room, which in of itself was a bad idea. It was a bad idea to have a writer's room, because Doctor Who, I think, works better when it's like a single creative voice for a story, or as they've been doing it since it came back in 2005. You had a showrunner, which had a single creative voice, and then individual writers, which would then work with the showrunner. So instead, this year they had a writer's room, and they staffed the writer's room essentially with political playwrights and people very much in the vogue in the London intelligentsia set. And people who spoke very loudly about that political agenda, which is they're pretty open about. I think most of these people, they wake up and they go to sleep every day with the thought, oh my God, Donald Trump's the president. Oh my God, Brexit happened. We got to stop Brexit. I think that's what they go through their entire lives, like thinking. So he starts to write us with people who don't really have an affection for science fiction, and again are much more political. I would say ideological and political playwrights. And the results were pretty much as we saw. Very bland stories that were not much to hook onto at all. Again, stories which I think lacked a understanding of science fiction or Doctor Who genre in general. And he came up, and again, reading this interview, they came up with this. He said there's one rule they had in hiring these people, other than them being like the right skin color or whatever nonsense they chose. Let me zoom in a little bit further. So there's no questions. Can I zoom in anymore? Okay, the other rule, says Chibnall. There we go. The other rule he adds with a smile. I hate that smile. That little smirking smile of his just makes me want to hit him in the face. Which is not an endorsement of violence. Please, nobody even consider doing such a terrible thing. He adds with a smile was that they had to be good people. Good people. American writer and director Joss Whedon, who is not a good person, incidentally. He's a bad person, but he shares your political ideology, which is the point of this video. He's a bad person. He's cheated on his wife. He broke up his marriage. Once said, you can be the best writer in the world, but you also need to be well-behaved. Well-behaved? We are talking Twitter blue check Twitter marks speak for you got to be well-behaved so you don't get cancelled. No, we can't have any cancelled people like great Doctor Who writer Gareth Roberts, who was cancelled from the Target book recently because he because he's gay and he happened to say, "Oh, these trannies are annoying me." He talked like a human being, and he was cancelled. Even though fantastic understanding of Doctor Who, science fiction, and a great writer, he wasn't well behaved, and so he was cancelled. You can be the best writer in the room, but you need to be well behaved. I need to be able to have you in my house. So let me ask you, Chris Chibnall. What about somebody who's a Christian? Yeah, now again, I'm a rabbi, so I'm not a Christian. I'm talking about myself. Somebody who's a Christian, are they not well behaved enough for you to have in your house? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing if somebody is somebody who thinks that immigration should be legal, should be legal and fair, that you shouldn't illegally immigrate. Let me see if I can turn this off. Oh, okay. You shouldn't illegally immigrate. Is that a good person, Chris? Or no? You probably think they're a bad person if they oppose illegal immigration in any way whatsoever. What about God forbid they don't vote for Jeremy Corbyn, who's the British election today, and I guarantee all these people who are good people are putting an X in by Jeremy Corbyn's name, this is not a subjective evaluation. He is objectively an anti-Semite. He's a racist. And I say that I mean he fulfills the dictionary and legal definition of an anti-Semite. Are those good people? Because I think you've exclusively hired those good people. What about what about heaven forbid if you feel a late term abortion involves killing a human being? Does that make you a bad person, or does that make you a good person? Yeah, there was this debate raged around 2016 or 2017, early 2017. Is it okay to punch a Nazi in the face? And just like every other SJW, social justice warrior argument, it's completely disingenuous and just full of lies. And it misrepresents itself completely. Yes, I would say it's probably okay to hit a Nazi in the face, but I would also say no, it's not okay to hit a Nazi in the face. It's okay to hit a Nazi in the face because they're a Nazi. If they're a Nazi, I think I'm on board with that. But it's not okay for us as a society to hit a Nazi in the face. Why? Because you'll do exactly what you did and call anybody you don't like a Nazi. Anybody you don't like, Chris Chibnall, you say is not a good person. Anybody who doesn't share your political values is not a good person. And that is what we saw in the series. And that's why we got a bland, uninteresting series, cram full with current day politics and political ideology. Like, what did you think was going to happen? I'm going to tell you what I think you think was going to happen when you put a Donald Trump alike as a villain in Arachnids in the UK. What do you think was going to? You thought everybody was going to give you a round of applause and go, "Oh, how brave! Oh, thank you for saying it." Please. Because here's the problem with the entertainment industry in general: you all have too much money, and you don't interact with people who don't think the same way as you, and you convince yourselves that anybody who doesn't think the same way as you is evil. Daisy Ridley the other day in one of these press junkets said, "Well, of course everybody hates Boris Johnson." Again, look, honestly, in the English elections today, I have no skin in that game. I'm not voting. I don't live in England. I don't really care who wins, with the exception of one thing. I think that one of their candidates, the one favoured by Chris Chibnall and his writers' room, is a racist and is openly a racist, and he's bad news. He's an anti-Semite. He's a racist against me personally. So that's my only skin in the game there. But Daisy really said, "No, everybody hates Boris Johnson." No, they don't. That he's almost certainly going to win this election. And even if he loses, which I will be surprised, but even if he loses, there will still be tens of millions of people that voted for him. That's not nobody. That's nobody. They're nobodies to you. I was going to say that's nobody in your world. No, but those people to you are nobodies. They're the deplorables. And that's why we have the entertainment we had in 2019. Now, my fondest hope is that they've all got scared. They're all realised that we're not going to give you our money, which we have very little of, and they have a lot of. But we're not going to give you any of our little money if you're going to be rude to us. So yeah. So hopefully there's some kind of course correction going on, and at least they're going to pack the series out with lots of monsters. So yeah, that's hope. If they can just keep their hatred of half the world to themselves, which is what it is, their sheer hatred of anybody who happens to believe in God. If they can keep that to themselves for 10 weeks worth of episodes, they can keep that to themselves, they would probably do themselves a lot of favors. And they'll probably make a TV show that was actually quite good. Or no, I won't say quite good. They'll make a TV show that isn't divisive, that doesn't push people away. And that's the other thing he said in this interview. This season 11 was meant to be a recruiting year. Well, that was a bit of a failure, wasn't it? You know, yes, you got the highest viewing figures of all time, I think, for the debut. You got the lowest audience figures of all time for the end of the season. It was very, very, very bad. So yeah. This mythical audience that you think you're going to get, firstly, doesn't exist. The blue check marks on Twitter, honestly, yeah, these Twitter mobs, in reality, they're probably like 12 insane people who are very bad people. They're not an audience. But even if they were an audience and they really agreed with this political agenda that runs through the... Incidentally, anybody who says there was no political agenda... No, Chibnall just said, you had to have my ideology. There was no diversity in the writer's room. You had to have my ideology to get to be able to write for the show. Just like you've got to have the same ideology to write for comic books, for DC Comics or Marvel Comics, or to be... or to work to Star Wars or Star Trek. You all got to have the same ideology, and that ideology includes hating anybody who doesn't agree with you. That's good people to you, Chris Chibnall. So I want to tell you, then you're not good people. You're all bad people. I wouldn't mind if you guys enacted any form of morality in your everyday life, but you don't. The entertainment industry, really? Why do you think the Me Too things happened through the entertainment industry? Because you're all vile scum. That's really the truth. You're the last people in the world to be lecturing us about morality. Maybe, okay, there are, let me think, the groups of people who shouldn't be lecturing us about morality. Cannibals, let's start with them. Then people working in the entertainment industry. Cannibal child molesters. No, let's put them above the entertainment industry. So we have cannibals, cannibal child molesters, people working in the entertainment industry, and then below you, you're not the lowest, below you, politicians. And you are the people who should not be lecturing the world about morality. You have no idea about morality. You've never thought about morality. Because as well as not being very moral, you're also not very smart. So, my hope is you've realised that we're not going to be giving you money. I think we can see by the complete absence of Jodie Whittaker merchandise. Do you remember how much merchandise there was this time last year? It was just an insane amount, and that's all dried up because nobody bought it because either you were offended and by your diversive, disgusting political ideological lecturing, or you're just not that interested in science fiction, and you found the science fiction in Doctor Who got in the way of the political lecturing. So, they didn't stay around either. So I'm hoping you guys are scared and you realise that you can't... You can carry on being as disgusting a human being as you were beforehand. That's fine. We don't mind. All you got to do is shut up and entertain us and don't put your hatred of us on screen. That's what I'm hoping for Season 12 of Doctor Who. Lots of monsters and you not putting your hatred of us on screen. And a good way of avoiding hating everybody who isn't you? A bit of diversity, maybe. A bit of diversity of thought in your writer's room. But no. You would only hire good people. My name is Svila Beckin, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're as incensed and disgusted with Chibnall as I am, because I truly am. And I just hope we haven't scared enough to shut the hell up and entertain us. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.